and welcome to Dream It, Dare It, Do It, Live the Life You Want, where we look at what is it that we truly, truly want. And my name is Jasmine. I'm your host. And today I have a new friend from the UK, Charli Wall. Hi, Charli.
Hello, Jasmine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for accepting the invitation of my friend Pam to join us.
Yeah, no, I was very honored to be asked.
Thank you. So everybody who is listening do not know you. So would you like to just give them a little overview of, what you do, just so that they know?
Yeah, well, of course. I'm a mother to one 22-year-old TikTok sensation.
Really?
Really, really. So yes, I'm basically a mother to him. He's called Zach. I'm a mother to my fur baby. She's called Asha, the dog. And I live alone now because my son's just moved out in Norfolk in the UK, and I work as a 3 principles practitioner. I work with women. I create female communities. I run retreats. I teach yoga. I'm like a jack of all trades, really.
I know that feeling. It's like, I like that energy. Let's do what we want, right? Everything that makes our heart sing.
Yeah. It's interesting because I remember many, many years ago when I was at school, I had a friend and her mum was a dance teacher and I did dance. And I remember this friend of mine saying, my mum's done everything. And I thought at the time, like, wow, is that even possible? And now when I look back, it's one of those memories that I really hold dear as like, yeah, you actually can do anything. And that's kind of what I've done.
Yeah. It's so funny as you say that. I remember my friends, saying things like that to me. Oh, what project do you have now? And what are you doing now? Like, and it's so funny. As you were saying that, what showed up was I always took it as a bad thing. Like they were saying it with a bad intent, but I never really asked them, did you make it mean as it was a bad thing? Because now I see that I thought it was a bad thing, when I first started, because I did everything. I sold vacuum cleaners, I was the host of open mics and open band nights. I was a singer. I was a multi-level marketer at one point. Like I did a lot of things, and now I see that it just made me who I am today. Like it's like the sum of all these experiences got me to where I am today, which is super cool because now my business is booming.
Yeah, no, I completely hear you. And I think the other thing that I've really learned over the last few years is that we're not who we think we are. And so many people identify with those labels of I am a whatever that is, and I live in this place and I'm married to this person, and we identify with those things. And because I've been so many things, I've had so many experiences in my professional life and my personal life that I can really use that as an example, and I'm sure you can. And when you're saying to someone in the principles world, is that true? Because we've been so many different things.
Yeah.
And done so many different things. And what's true is what's going on now. I don't know if that's my computer doing that.
Yeah, it is. Somebody's chatting with you.
But I've turned it all off. So you're editing this, aren't you?
Well, I will now. I'm gonna take a note. What time is it?
It's 3:40. It started probably about 3:40, but I don't have any apps on and I've got everything on Do Not Disturb. So I don't understand how that's happening. I apologize.
I'm going to go check. I'm going to close my stuff too. Did I have anything? Yeah. I've got.
Can you still hear me if I turn that down?
I can still hear you.
Yeah, so maybe that will help. I've no idea.
Yeah, I got nothing on my.
It never does that many times. Ever.
Sometimes it's like a chat, like somebody's chatting with you, and there's this new feature on Gmail where people chat with you. And then it does this little ba-ding, ba-ding.
Yeah, no, I've everything's off, so I don't know what that was, and like I say, that's never happened that many times before. I don't even know what that sound is.
Okay.
I'm gonna take WhatsApp, quit WhatsApp. Maybe it was WhatsApp. Okay.
Okay.
So my apologies, Jasmine.
That's okay. I'm gonna put 16 minutes to 18 minutes. Okay, now that we've solved the sounds on our computer, we're coming back. So yeah, we were talking about labels, how we identify with labels.
That's right.
You want to hear something that I was really amazed at how attached I was to a label. In 1996, I bought a Volkswagen convertible. And I never realized how my identity was attached to the Volkswagen convertible until I had to get rid of the Volkswagen convertible 17 years later. And it was like painful. It was like painful. And in my mind, I knew it was kind of like, what the heck, Jasmine? Like, it's a car, but it was really attached to who I was until I finally let it go. And then I got the brand new car with all the nice new thingies. And I was like, ooh, I love a brand new car, but it goes to that level. It can go to that level.
Oh gosh, I know. On my retreats, one of the first questions I get the ladies to answer is tell your partner, I get them in partners, tell your partner who you are without telling them your name, your age, your marital status, where you live, your job, whether you're a mum or not. And they kind of go, oh.
But it's true. It is something that we're so not used to doing. Like even me now, I'm like, but the thing that's getting clearer and clearer for me right now is that I am love, and I can be with anything and I can be with anyone, so that's pretty cool to know. And I wish everybody could see that that's who they are at their core,
Yeah, who we are versus, like who we actually are versus the narrative that we've been telling ourselves forever.
Yeah.
Is a huge difference.
Yeah. So the people who listen to my podcast, they know that I've, years ago, I had a job and I was there for 10 years and then I eventually quit. And then I said, okay, I gotta just recreate myself and I can't be on this earth to do this particular work because I was unhappy basically just didn't like the job and I just couldn't do it anymore. And instead of doing the proper thing, the thing that usually everybody does, which is, okay, before you quit a job, you go find a job. Well, I didn't do that. I just quit. I was like, no, I will not be able to handle the stress of looking for a job, hiding from my current boss, So I just quit. And then I said, okay, I'm going to take time to check out who I am, So people know that, the people who are listening know about this about me. But what was interesting, guys, is that when I introduced myself to Charli, Charli did the same thing, basically. So can you share a little bit of what you've done?
Of course. And I'll caveat this by saying I live near the Queen in Norfolk. And so at the moment, there's loads of really very loud planes going up over above. So I apologize in advance. So I was an addiction specialist and under the sort of umbrella of psychiatry, and I'd been doing this job following a family tragedy. So I'd got into nursing very young at 21, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved it. But at this time in my life, I was now caring for my disabled father and looking after my then young son on my own without any financial support from his dad. And I love this job, but it was very, very, very difficult working in the NHS then, let alone what it's like now. And I was having to fight different systems to get money, to get funding, to get another nurse to work with me. So I'm one specialist covering the whole hospital, and Addenbrooke is a huge teaching hospital in Cambridge. So I was teaching the doctors and nurses and going around all the wards. And I just got this sense, I was just like, there's got to be an easier way. I am exhausted. I'm burnt out. Like I was young. So I'm talking early 30s. And one day I started going to the gym, and I was doing spinning and doing body pump, and I absolutely loved it. And I just thought, I know, I could do this. I could just dance around to music. This will be excellent. And so literally, that was the sort of intuitive nudge. And one day I had a particularly bad day at work. I was struggling with the morning club and after club with my son, emotionally myself. He was probably fine. It was my stuff. And one day I just thought, I've had enough of this red tape. I've had enough of this bureaucracy. I've had enough of these rules. I'm quitting. I literally walked in to my boss and handed my notice in. I had no idea what I was going to do next. And I knew I had to pay the mortgage. And so I was nuts because I had a mortgage, I had a son. But what I did was I embarked on a personal training qualification that was funded. I got a loan from the government and did it that way. And just slowly by slowly, step by step, started a new business, learned how to run a business, taught myself everything I know, to the point where 15 years later, I was able to sell my business.
Nice.
And that was in 2017, where I pretty much did the same thing again, but for different reasons.
Mm. So now so that first business, was it personal training? Was it for personal training that you did that, or personal?
Well, so basically I had two businesses. One was the personal training part, and the other part was a female only boot camp in Cambridge. And I had many different locations and I had staff working for me. But back, if I go back, I started working for Sweaty Betty, which was a shop, and I got the sack from there.
Okay.
And I was working for a gym called David Lloyd, and I got the sack from there. So what I had to do was come up with an idea of how I could keep earning money and take my son with me, who I had no childcare, I had no help. So I thought, I know, and boot camps weren't a thing in England back then. I thought I'll set up in the park with my music and see if there are other women out there who want to exercise and don't have any childcare. And it was just like,
yeah.
I could never have known that getting the sack from those two places would lead me to get the idea to do what I did, which would then 10 years later enable me to sell that business. I would have and I was scared of teaching.
That what I do in my business is I basically help, entrepreneurs or solo entrepreneurs to set up their business. And the main thing that I get when I meet somebody is basically that, well, I can't do this because they made up the reason why they couldn't do it. And I'm like, you don't have to know where you're going. You have an idea, try it out. And it's going to take a shape. The more that you go, the more, if you listen to your wisdom and not your thinking, I don't want people to think, okay, you can't listen to your thinking. You can listen to your thinking. Your thinking is there to help you shape things. But there's always a feeling, right? There's this inner nudge that tells us, oh, try this out. Like, what would you qualify it? Like when you had the idea, because you were scared, you had no idea. Like, what do you now, years back, what do you think was there?
I would have just called it an intuitive nudge, like a little universal breadcrumb, which I can only now articulate given what I know about life. But at the time, I don't think I would have called it that because, like you said, I was petrified and trying to scrabble around to make money to pay the mortgage to feed me and Zach. It wasn't in alignment with me. I felt like a fraud. But like I say, I was so in my trauma and in my head, in my life, that I couldn't have seen. So yes, now I can see why life invited me to do that stuff, how it's gotten me to this place, why I then could create a new life again, you know, in 2017, why I was able to listen to that voice of deeper knowing, which most people don't know how to listen to. And firstly, and secondly, if they do listen, they don't know how to trust it.
Yeah, that's so true. Like it's so funny because first of all, you said the word alignment, and I love that word. I didn't always love that word, but I do love that word now because I hear more of my inner wisdom now. And just lately, I had the I can trust it insight for myself because I went through there's an event that occurred in my life where I was upset with someone and I made up all of this shit about him. And I could hear both of them. I could hear all of the crap I was making up, and I could hear, but that's not him. You know, it's not true. And I was like, oh, you shut up, you person that's like so level-headed, you know. I was kind of like, but I didn't listen to it. Like I said, okay, let me reach out. And actually I didn't reach out, he reached out, and he said, okay, let's talk about this. And we had a conversation, and I really saw how I could trust this voice inside of me that says, no, you don't have to do that. No, you don't need to believe this. No, you know, like that part that calms me down, that I can only call it love. And you know, it's so funny because for me, love is acceptance of what is and what is not, you know. And I've heard it many a times in my life, but I wouldn't listen to it.
Well, I used to hear it many times when I was drinking. And it's only now that when I came across the principles, but I've been in the principles world since 2017, that I can look back on those moments where wisdom was coming in, trying to take me in a different direction. And because I didn't know it was there, I went and did what I really didn't want to be doing. But I was drunk, so I was doing what I was doing.
Yeah, it's really interesting that we go to what we know. Right. Well, I know what to do here, and I know what not to do here. It's not true. It's not, that's not that. That's not what I meant to say. Hold on. Like we go to our mind, our head, our like what we've done in the past, what we've seen. Okay, I know how to behave here. Let me behave this way. Oops, sorry, Mike. So like we just know how to behave, so we just go back to what we've done in the past when everything actually lies in the unknown, in what we don't know.
Yeah, and I think that
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We barely heard it.
What that to me is the conditioning that so many people live in, that habitual way of being that comes from a brain that wants things to stay the same. And intuition is in the unknown often, particularly when it comes to life changing.
Can't hear it. Can't hear it at all.
Oh gosh, okay. And that is a lot of the stuff that I teach. And also I think it comes from trusting yourself, which women who have been conditioned to take care of others and do the right thing and be a good girl, is lots of that is conditioning as well. So women in particular, I mean, I don't work with men, I only work with women, really don't trust themselves, don't know how to listen into that voice. I mean, I do genuinely feel very, very blessed that I just did. And that's what I mean by life invited me to. And now I feel very blessed to be here, because I see so many people who have a dream and are so unhappy, but they keep doing the thing, they keep drinking the drink, or eating the food, or doing the shopping, or like they just keep doing this thing on repeat. And then they're like, I'm stuck in Groundhog Day and I don't know how to get out. And it's like, just come over here into the unknown, just take a risk, because it will be okay. And believe me, this side of that bridge is so much easier than being in the uncomfortable, familiar place.
You know, one thing that I've seen lately is that, and I've been in this conversation for a long time. And what I've observed is that I keep taking layers off of thinking, so there's Jasmine, and then there was a layer that was on top, and like I created myself like that, right? And now I'm kind of like doing the opposite. Like now I've reached a place where I'm like, okay, wait, actually that's not true, and that's not true, and I'm just kind of like taking layers and layers off and getting more and more to see this girl, this light, this person here. And I'm starting to trust that it's okay, I can be who I am, because I was this, but then I was like, okay, I can't do that, because when I do that, this happens, and I can't say this because that happens. So I protected that bubble. But I'm starting to see there's this new thing that showed up, actually, because of like all the layers I've been taking out. This new thing that showed up was I think that something's out to get me. Like this actually showed up. It's like, oh, wait. So when I'm outside, I'm on my guard because something's out to get me. The phone rings and I'm like, I don't know who it is. Someone's out to get me. It's not like I'm not saying, oh my God, I'm freaking out about it, but I can hear it in the background a little bit, and I'm like, wait, but that's not my experience of life. So I don't know where it comes from, but it's really interesting to see that that's not true. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I was wondering, because you've worked with so many women, how many women do you think have this kind of thing going on for them?
Well, every single woman I meet. Every single woman I meet. There isn't one woman that I know, either in, because I have a lot of female, well, not a lot, I have a handful of female friends. I can see their insecurity. I wouldn't ever coach them because that's not what I'm there for. I'm their friend. But every single woman that I have in my community, that I have in my field, and maybe that's because like attracts like, is there's some way where they're trying to keep themselves safe, whether it be through money, academia, studying, relationships, houses, cars. As you mentioned, the VW. Body shape is a big one. Hair, eyebrows. I mean, that's a new thing.
Yeah. Or the eyelid things there. What are they called?
Eyelashes?
Eyelashes. I only had the French word. Yeah, so the eyelashes. I see these girls, taking the eyelashes off, and I'm like, or the hair extensions. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yes, I do think every single human, actually, and this isn't just women, there's something where they don't know they're okay, and they don't know they're safe, and they don't know they're not in control. And we are conditioned to live in a world where something or somebody or some circumstances is responsible for your well-being. Now, do I remember that 100% of the time? No.
Yeah.
But I do most of the time. And so that gives me a good grounding when things appear not to be going my way. Which, of course, they, building a new business, selling everything and building a new business, they didn't go my way for a long time because I had expectations and, dreams. The pandemic came along, and actually my business grew in the pandemic. So my experience of the pandemic was very different to everyone else's, but it also stopped my dream of living in Crete, and so did Brexit. So there were other things where my dream wasn't being fulfilled, but actually I don't need that to be okay. And who knows what's going to happen? I just don't know. And that's where we can get caught up or trip ourselves up, I think, sometimes when we're holding out for I'll be okay when.
Yeah. I think it's good to have a dream, but sometimes just having the dream will bring you to something even better. So
absolutely.
Like, if you stick to staying in the moment, that's why the podcast is called Dream It, Dare It, Do It, right? So if you're dreaming of something, there's a craving in there. You might not know exactly what the word, what it is. Like I dreamt of having business cards. I had small dreams.
Well, I used to dream about that one day, and all the things as running a business that was one step at a time. And but I'll be okay when, I'll be successful then. And my website's so outdated now, but I don't care about it anymore because it's not about that for me. And so the business skills I don't have anymore.
Yeah. I totally agree. Me too. If anybody goes on my website, I'm sorry, I'm just too busy to create the website. So right now it says in construction. And it's been in construction for a few months now. So that's okay, because it's not that's going to bring the business. That's not, it doesn't make me better at anything.
Well, they're just things, aren't they? They're adding on.
Yeah.
I'll be okay when, and this is subtractive psychology. So, if what we're saying is true, and it is, we can be okay and show up without all of the fluff.
Yeah.
The things that people think they need.
Yeah. My dog's got something stuck in her throat. I'm sorry.
I thought that.
I don't know what's going on. She's been doing it for a couple minutes now. I'll figure it out. Well, listen, Charli, we believe it or not, we've already busted our time.
Oh.
And yeah. So, but before we leave, I would like to, put a plug for you. Like, is there any events that you're doing right now? Is there anything that people can join? Let's say they liked your conversation and they're like, hey, I want to get in touch with Charli. How would they do that?
Well, I'm all over social media, and I have a free Facebook community that's female only. It's called The Freedom Group.
Okay.
And I have a podcast myself, which is called Courage, Dear Heart.
Okay.
So yeah, they can find me there.
Any groups going on right now?
Well, I have a membership. I have a female-only membership group called the Circle Group, and people can join that at any time. So yeah, I mean, but the best place to start, really, if they don't know me, is the free Facebook group, because then they can check me out.
They get a taste of you.
Yeah, like they can go, I don't like her, I do like her. Because I think we all have a particular flavor of client who either, who are drawn to us. And my story is very unique and like everyone's, but, it will probably be a certain type of woman that's drawn to me.
Fantastic.
But, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for accepting and for the chat. And
you're so welcome. Thank you for asking me. I hope your little dog's okay.
Yeah, she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. Probably a hair in there somewhere. So thank you again. And everybody else, I'm going to say, dream it, dare it, do it. Live the life that you want. And I'll see you next week. Bye.